Hi, my name's Ben Browning. I've been on the AWS Restart program, and over the last 4 weeks, I've been interning with Sky Television New Zealand. I've really enjoyed my experience. It's been based at the Mount Wellington campus. I've been with the cloud engineering team, shadowing some of the senior cloud engineers. I'm just here to talk about some of the interesting things I've been working on and some of the things I've learned. So, the first week, I'll just take it week by week. The first week was just kind of meet and greet, find my way around, a bit of a tour, getting passwords, setups, laptops, very, very relaxed. Towards the second day, I was introduced to the project that I'd be working on with one of the senior cloud engineers. This involved There was a problem with the developer team. They were finding that a lot of the EC2 instances were the disk usage was filling up too quickly, and there was no way to properly manage it in terms of monitoring with CloudWatch. Um, so what I did is we came up with a solution where we'd install CloudWatch using Ansible. It's a configuration management tool. Um, and from there, we'd create a threshold for the disk usage alarm via the Ansible playbook as well. So my role was to set up the inventory file, this is with all the IP addresses of the EC2 instances we wanted to install on. Also set up the roles and modules for installing CloudWatch and monitoring the disk usage, and then the playbook, which kind of combines everything using the roles, modules, inventory file to then run everything and install. It sounds like a big process, but it's a lot easier than going through one by one with the installing everything manually via the command line, and allowed me to get used to using Ansible, which is used quite a lot, especially in a kind of a cloud DevOps environment. I was also fortunate to be involved with another senior cloud engineer where I worked with the other intern on creating a solution for one of their problems. Quite similar as well, they were noticing that one of the EC2 instances was far exceeding its CPU usage while the others weren't. It did have an auto scaling group, and for some reason it was just one of these EC2 instances. So what they wanted to do is when the auto scaling group scaled up and created a new EC2 instance, they wanted to install a separate CloudWatch alarm just for the new EC2 instance, where they were finding the CloudWatch alarm was taking the whole auto scaling group and looking at the average. So they wanted to look individually at each new instance. Another factor they wanted to do as well was to create the alarm, but also keep the alarm for 24 hours after it had been deleted. So that was the tricky part. You'd often think that once the EC2 instance had been deleted, then the CloudWatch alarm would be deleted as well. So we had to look into a way of doing that. We did a bit of whiteboard session and a bit of Googling and came across lifecycle hooks, which could be implemented with a Lambda function. So every time the auto scaling group was scaled up or scaled down, that would be the trigger for the Lambda function, and it would act like an event listener. So what we first went about doing, instead of doing the lifecycle hooks, was to create the Python script. Did a bit of Googling as well and found the Botto 3, which is the software development kit SDK for AWS, and allows you to use a lot of the AWS resources. So like installing the CloudWatch, you can use S3 and many other tools like DynamoDB too. So in the end, the other intern, Michael, he's the experienced developer, so he took a bit more of a lead role on that one. But I used a lot of my AWS knowledge to help with helping him with the projects as well in terms of scaling up. I did a bit of the code on the side myself, but the main file was with Michael. It was really interesting just seeing the power of Botto 3 and implementing with Lambda just for the serverless, because I think it's like a million invocations, and it costs barely anything, not even a cent. So it definitely shows you the power of automating things in the cloud. And also, like, you don't have to come from a traditional infrastructure background. You can come from a developer background. And I think personally in the future, it will be a lot more automation. So it's like one of the things I've been focusing on in my downtime too, is just kind of sharpening up those Python skills and looking into some Botto 3 courses. Also in my downtime, I found before we had stand-up meeting in the morning, I'd just do some trusted advisor checks oftentimes they've got the kind of steps that you can run through to implement stuff. Just working in the sandpit and the test environment so I don't break anything. But there's a good way just to kind of get a bit more comfortable in AWS and the user environment. It's quite a lot to talk about actually. I thought I'd struggle to get to 5 minutes, but we did quite a lot of tech talks as well, where we focused on infrastructure as code, Pulumi and Terraform. There was even some GitLab, CI/CD, so looking at pipelines. Oftentimes each developer would kind of do a tech talk and just kind of talk about things they've been working on or tools they've been using. And it was just kind of like to upskill everyone, so it's kind of like a professional development hour each week or so. I did host one where I went through kind of the resources that I used to learn. So I talked about Cold Cloud, which is kind of a great online learning platform which you can use to learn Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes, Linux, the list goes on. Ansible, I even used that in my downtime to help me upskill for the Ansible. And then hopefully going forward now, I'll continue to keep developing my skills. The main kind of takeaway I got from the senior cloud team was to focus on Python, Linux, AWS, and also just keeping that networking. I know we all found networking was a bit dry, but it honestly will help you in troubleshooting things. And that's been my internship with Sky. Thank you.